So what do we teach at Breathworks? It's very simple. I think this is one of the things that I've learned through my own experiences. Keep it simple. Mindfulness is not rocket science. You know, I think as Amisha said, it's simple to understand but hard to practice, that kind of idea. But we can wrap it up in all kinds of complexity, but actually it's very, very simple. And the basic problem that one has when you're living with a chronic health condition is that you don't like it. Really what you're living with is, I don't like this. And the way I don't like this gets lived out in your life is very distressing and very unpleasant. So how mindfulness can help is you're learning, or you're teaching people how to move away from this, I don't like this, system of living, to turning towards it, which is very counterintuitive. It takes a lot of courage to learn to turn towards the difficult. And then what you do is you investigate what's actually happening. Not what you think is happening, or what you fear is happening, or what happened yesterday, but what is actually happening right now. So you look at it in quite a lot of detail. However, crucially, you do this with tenderness and care and acceptance and compassion. So it's not a kind of put it under the microscope approach, but it's embrace it. The way you would hold a child that was hurting. It's like, what's wrong? Why, how can I help you? So you relate to your own difficulty with great tenderness. And then, crucially, and this is the kind of crucial theoretical part of our program, you can unpack that experience into what we call primary and secondary suffering. So rather than it just being a great big blob of, I don't like this, it becomes, I have some unpleasant sensations, I can accept those. And then you realize how it's the resistance to the unwanted that's causing most of your distress. Resistance, primary sensations plus resistance equals secondary suffering. And that's all the mental, emotional, and physical reactions. Things like catastrophizing thinking, depression, anxiety, fear, and of course secondary physical tension. You've got pain, you tense against it, and then you've got more pain. So we use this exercise on our program, which is fun. So that person on your left has got a blue cushion on her lap, which represents the unpleasant sensations in her back, say. She's someone with back pain, let's say for argument's sake. And then we get other people in the group to pile all these other cushions on, which are all the secondary reactions. I can't go to work anymore, nobody likes me anymore, maybe I'm going to end up in a wheelchair, I can't walk the dog anymore. And you end up just burdened by all these cushions, all the secondary suffering. It's very good exercise. You can steal it if you want. Very, very useful. Because it's very felt. That person there, she's burdened, isn't she? She can't see out anymore, and she's weighed down by all these secondary suffering. And she can let go of all the red cushions. They're all optional. The blue cushion isn't optional. So mindfulness helps one accept the blue cushion, the primary suffering, to soften or dissolve resistance. That's a kind of crucial training. And then to reduce or even overcome the secondary suffering. So one can have pain and have an excellent quality of life. That's the thing that we're showing people. Very quickly, the methods. We teach 3 different formal meditation practices: a body scan, mindfulness of breathing, and kindly awareness, which is based on a Buddhist practice called the development of loving kindness. So that gets an equal weight with mindfulness. If we were to research that, I'm not quite sure how we'd work out which one was effective, but it seems to work, so that's the main thing. We teach mindfulness in daily life in a very systematic and detailed way, because that's very, very important for people who are living with chronic health conditions. Meditating once a day is helpful, but then you've got another 23 hours to go crazy in. So we really unpack it in a very specific way. For example, I use a timer when I'm working, and every 20 minutes I stand up. And that's changed my life more than meditating. Yeah, because that's really changed my behavior. So one of the phrases that we use is, take a break before you need it. That's a take-home little phrase you can have. Take a break before you need it. I think intuitively as human beings we push the envelope And we keep going until we're desperate, and then we crash. And we have this kind of pushing and crashing cycle. So take a break before you need it. We teach mindful movement. I'm going to teach a little one in a moment. And everything that we do is based around the breath and learning to rest into gravity. Yeah, gravity is remarkable. It's here all the time, and very often we're kind of pulling away from gravity, which creates a lot of secondary tension. Yeah. So we're just going to do a little experiential thing now. Yeah, even though I'm told I've only got 5 minutes left. Just to show how simple this is. So if you just sit comfortably, and I would like you to make a fist with one hand. What's happened to your breath? Anyone breathing? Yeah? Do people find their breath stopped when they made the fist? Yeah. So that's what happens when you have pain or the unwanted in your body. It's like you've got a fist in your body, and not only have you got the tension, but you've got this inhibited breathing around the body. So now I'd like you to drop into gravity, really sort of rest down onto the chair. Just imagine that you're allowing your body to be held by gravity. And you've got your fist. And imagine breathing into the fist. And what does the fist want to do? Does it want to soften? Yeah. So that's one of the main trainings. So it's learning how to drop into the body, drop into gravity, identify these kind of areas of holding in the body, and then learn how to take the breath into those and to soften and dissolve. And that's a very, very good way of releasing this impulse to secondary suffering. So just a couple of drawings about the kind of theory again of the way we work. So the unaware human being tends to live strung out. We're pushing away the unpleasant and we're pulling the pleasant towards us. Yeah? So the pain is the unpleasant. Don't like that. Oh, want more of that. And does that look comfortable? Yeah? Interestingly, it's the crucifix as well, which I find quite interesting. So you're sort of crucified on your impulses of trying to avoid the pain and to prolong pleasure. So what we're doing is we're learning, teaching people to turn towards the pain with tenderness. And the dotted lines mean you're seeing into the fluid nature of experience. This is very, very important because people think of pain as being solid, the enemy, a thing. Actually, it's just a flow of sensations that are ever-changing. And we don't leave people there. Yeah, we don't leave people turn towards the pain and see into its nature. That would be not a very pleasant way of living. So then we get people to hold that, but then to also pay attention to what's pleasant. And we've not yet found anyone on a program who couldn't find something pleasant, which I think is very, very interesting, because people can think, oh, there's nothing pleasant, my life is awful. But it might be you've got a softness in your face. Your hands are warm. Your tummy's soft. You're not hungry. That might be pleasant. In hospital, it might be that the sheets on the bed are clean. That can be extraordinarily pleasant when you're in a lot of suffering. And then you hold both and you see into their fluid and changing nature. So you're no longer strung out, but you're just resting back in this very broad, open awareness, and you're just allowing everything to rise and fall, moment by moment. And that's a much more restful, whole, healthy way of living. And we don't end with self. This is also very, very important. It's not just a self-awareness training, but you then expand your awareness to include awareness of others and the world around you, and you realize how we're all so very, very alike. We look different, but we're all very, very similar. And this becomes this preoccupation with self and one's own problems, and you shift from a perception of isolation, I'm the only one in pain and you're all healthy, which is often the perception that one has when you've got a health condition. You look out into the world and you think they've all got perfect lives and my life is terrible. But you realize it's not like that. Every single one of you, I know, has some kind of difficulty in your lives, just like me. And we also have this explicit cultivation of compassion. So things we're doing now, I wrote this book in 2008 that's now out in 12 languages. The title in Swedish is different, but the English title is very important actually, which is living well with pain and illness. So it's not overcoming pain and illness, but learning to live well with the human condition. That includes pain and illness.